Hey everybody, I'm Tom Vasel and welcome to Look Back. Look Back is a show that we do here on the Dice Tower where I take a look at the reviews that I did a year ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, and 20 years ago. And I tell you what I think about them now, if I think about them at all. So going back 20 years ago, I reviewed a game called Solomon's Temple. This is a game from Cactus, a Christian two-player game, and it's just absolutely dreck, unfortunately. 2 out of 10. Grow, Battle for the Petri Dish, an abstract game about growing bacteria. Just not a lot there, unfortunately, 5 out of 10. When Darkness Comes. This one I dropped a bit because this one has not held up over the years. When I first played, I was like, it's okay. From Twilight Creations, they have a lot of little games, their most famous being Zombies. When Darkness Comes, I can see some people liking it, but it's just too clunky, so 5 out of 10. Basari, a Reinhardt stop game. This game is about, changing resource and other resources. In fact, Century Spice Road kind of does the same thing, but much better. But it's still a really solid, neat game, and I think I played the out-of-the-box publishing version, 7 out of 10. Carcassonne the Castle. This is Rainer Knizia's take on Klaus-Jürgen Reid's Carcassonne series. It's a two-player only, very unique and different. If Carcassonne the City hadn't come out right after, I might have liked it even more. It's a little more constricting than I'd like it to be, but it's still a very solid, fun game, 7.5. All right, 10 years ago, I reviewed Lords of War, Orcs versus Dwarves. A two-player duel, basically you put people down and they attack them next to them, which is a concept that I've had in my mind for a while. This just didn't work very well, unfortunately, 5 out of 10. Evil Intent. Basically being bad guys, a lot of luck, just wasn't a very solid game. Although the same guys made Asking for Trouble some years later, so that game turned out pretty well. This one's just a 5. Canalis. This is, I think, the 5th or 6th game in the Tempest line from AEG, their interconnected universe, which is just basically, the Renaissance. But this one's okay. This Philip DeBarry design about building canals, very Euro-y, forgettable for me, 6 out of 10. Expedition Famous Explorers is a remake of their famous Expedition game from Wolfgang Kramer. This one from 8th Summit, their production quality could have been better, and it's a decent game, 7 out of 10. Candle Quest. This is a remake of It's Alive from Yehuda Berlinger. And originally It's Alive, like this game about making Frankenstein. And it's the same thing here with Menorahs, which is a really the Menorah game is ranked very poorly on Board Game Geek because I think it has a very small group of people who want that theme, but I think the game itself is very well done, whatever theme you get, 7 out of 10. Radis Cardis, the card game of Radis, I think this one's a solid little game, 7 out of 10. Citrus from Jeffrey Allers, a tile game about citrus fruits. I do like citrus fruits. A nice, pleasant game, 7 out of 10. Infamy from Mercury Games. Travis chances this might have been one of his first published games. A lot of different things going on here with the biggest starting token you'll ever see in a game, 7 out of 10. Speculation. This is a stock market game from Dirk Henn, from Queen. And I like stock market games for the most part. I mean, as a general base, I think 95% of them are dreck. But the ones that, rise above, I enjoy them. And this is no exception, 7.5. And then 10 years ago, I reviewed Thunderstone Advance Numenera. This is an expansion/standalone game for Thunderstone Advance in the Numenera universe. I didn't know anything about it. I really like this one. This one took Thunderstone Advance. In fact, some of the ideas this added seem to have shown up later in the Thunderstone Quest, which came out. But this was, I thought, the best version of Thunderstone Advance, which was Thunderstone 2 at this point. 9 out of 10. 5 years ago, I reviewed Gen 7 Crossroads. So this one here, from Black Hat Games, they were trying to do some story. You're on a ship. You're the 7th generation of 13 generations that will grow between you going from one spot to another. Really cool idea, theming-wise. It just didn't work as well as it should have. 6 out of 10. Symphony. Another game I want to like based on the theme. I love symphonies. I love orchestras. But the game itself was just okay. 6 out of 10. Nemesis. Very big game. Very popular 10 years later. One of the most popular ones, if you doubt that, one of the biggest Kickstarters, if not the biggest last year, GameFound projects, was the new Nemesis. I like it. I think there's some weaknesses to the game system. You know, it's that semi-co-op thing. There's this fiddly. I get it. It's not necessarily my style. For me, it's a 6.5. It's almost there, just missing things, but a lot of people do love it. AEGIS, combining robot strategy game. Hey, you want to play Voltron or, one of the Constructicons or whatever. That's what this game is. Run around and fight each other. 7 out of 10. Village Pillage, a small little game with simultaneous selection, which is an aspect I like in games, but a very easygoing one. 7 out of 10. You blew it! This game was made for Mike to say. Shaped like dynamite, but it's just a good little push your luck game. 7 out of 10. Anchors Away. This has a little bit of a feeling of Galaxy Trucker. Just kind of programming, but speed programming. I enjoy it. It's very silly fun. 8 out of 10. Boomerang, a flip and right game. I like Boomerang. They made 3 versions of it later on, which are not all as good as the original Boomerang, I think. They look better, though. But this is a really solid game. The King's Guild. Think Splendor, but with a whole lot more going on. Some cool components as you're basically building and getting clothing and armor and swords and stuff for adventurers going off on adventures. It's a fun theme and a lot going on. 8 out of 10. Or no, 8.5. I enjoyed that one. Another one I enjoyed a lot. This was a great week for me 5 years ago. Underwater Cities. Phenomenal game from Vladimir Suchi. 8.5. Quacks of Quedlinburg, which has only gone up as I played it over the years. I love this push your luck game. A 9 out of 10. And Vindication, which just keeps moving up to becoming one of my favorite games. A sandbox game. Very Euro style, but just so much fun every time I play it. A 9.5. Last year, I reviewed Applejack, a game from Uwe Rosenberg. Very mathy, but not particularly very interesting, unfortunately. 5 out of 10. Wild Style. It's a speed game about tagging. I don't like the theme or the play. I find it to be just okay at best. 6 out of 10. Honk. This is a kid's game about collecting geese tokens that are basically all on top of each other's. Kind of a little bit of like hand building style management. It's a good educational type game, good game to teach kids game mechanisms from Sinister Fish. 7 out of 10. Deities, a nice little Korean engine building game from Mandu. Keep your eye on Mandu. 7.5. Boop. Good little abstract 2-player game with cats. Yes, the Boop theme sells because people like the name and the cat theme, but it's a very solid, interesting, feels like classic abstract game. 8 out of 10. The biggest review I did last year was Frosthaven. Frosthaven, a humongous game, sequel to Gloomhaven, giant, and I like it. 8.5. But you got to go into it knowing what you're getting. It's more complex than Gloomhaven, both in the way the characters work and in just everything, building a town. There's so much more going on. But there's still some interesting aspects to the game, and I would play Gloomhaven first, I think, but if you like Gloomhaven, you're going to love Frosthaven. And QE Commodities. This is a 9.5 for me. An amazing expansion that takes QE, which is a game I already loved, and moves it up to another level. Well, there you go, folks. That is reviews I did 1, 5, 10, and 20 years ago. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Tom Vasel, and this has been Look Back on the Dice Tower. Huh?